The impeachment blowback has gone from bad to worse. Now, first, it was just bad for the Democrats because polls showed that independent voters ain't having none of this. We now have our third poll in the past 2 weeks showing opposition to the impeachment inquiry among independent voters has jumped substantially. The past two polls showed a 10-point gain, while general support just kept dropping. You know, the witnesses they've brought forward have done nothing to confirm anything. And my friends who are more moderate-minded Democrats who don't like Trump are saying, I don't even know what they're doing right now. So that was bad news number one. But Trump is now coming out as of the other day saying, I want an impeachment trial. See, right now this is an inquiry. That means that they're essentially trying to dig up if there is a reason to actually impeach the president. And they're going to vote, which they likely will. We'll see. And then it goes to trial. Trump will not be removed simply because he is impeached. The Senate will then hold a trial. And this is where the first part of the blowback was occurring, the backfiring. Several of the 2020 Democratic contenders will be pulled off the campaign trail. But now with Trump's announcement, we can see where it's going to get really bad. You see, Trump wants the Bidens to testify, to be witnesses. And not only that, so the Senate is controlled by the Republicans. They're going to get their witnesses. They're going to get Schiff. They're going to get Chalupa. They're going to get all these people tied to Ukrainian whatever. But beyond that, Lindsey Graham launched a probe into the Bidens and Burisma. They could have let sleeping dogs lie. They could have said, let Trump finish out his term and we'll try and beat him at the ballot box. They knew they couldn't win, but you could have still just waited 4 years. Or maybe they can't. Maybe this new probe with Horowitz and Durham digging into FISA abuse and the origins of Russiagate is going to be bad news across the board for many of these individuals. And so they know their only option is a last-ditch Hail Mary before it all goes up in flames. Look, I don't know if Joe Biden did anything wrong with Burisma, but I think it needs to be investigated. I think we have more than enough evidence at this point, especially with now the Ukrainian MPs coming out saying there's corruption here. You know what? I'll throw it to Wolf Blitzer. On CNN said, if Trump's innocent, why not allow the testimony? Why not allow the impeachment inquiry? Hey, you're right. Absolutely. Trump called for a trial. All right, there we go. Trump wants a trial. How about you get Biden in then, right? If Biden is innocent, then let's go through the documents, figure out what his son was doing in this company, and that's what's happening. And now they're outraged. Joe Biden said Lindsey Graham will regret this. He's going to go down in a way that he will regret for the rest of his life. Some people called it a threat. I don't know about that. But I tell you what, why so serious, Joe? If Trump has nothing to hide, why can't, he should be happy? Shouldn't you? No, because it's absurd to be playing these games politically. And now the Democrats are going to reap, they're going to reap what they have sown. And it's getting bad. And it's rather frustrating to have to say this every day. But now, look, man, look at the story. Trump on impeachment. I want a trial. Because he wants to make Schiff, Joe, Hunter, Alexander Chalupa, the whistleblower, sit on that stand and answer questions under oath. They have given Trump that power, and we knew the entire time the Senate was controlled by Republicans. This is going to happen. The way I did a segment earlier about Devin Nunes, and here's the bad news for the moderates. Here's the way I described it. I think of that Lord of the Rings scene where Elrond, I got the names right this time, Elrond is with Isildur in Mount Doom. Trust me, this is important. You see, the moderate voters voted in Democrats in these Trump districts thinking they were going to get somebody who would fight for health care and jobs, the economy. Instead, as they were standing up atop Mount Doom holding the one ring, the Orange Man bad narrative, the moderate voters yelled, cast it into the flames, get rid of this, focus on the real issues. And the moderate Democrats who got elected into Congress smiled and said no and voted for impeachment. And now we can see that independent voters are they're pissed off. All right, let's read this story and see what Trump's all about and actually get into the news because I could rant on this forever. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you would like to support my work. There are numerous ways you can give, but the best thing you can do, share this video. I'm gonna jump real quick and show you something very important as to why I think it is particularly important you share this video. I want to show you this image. There are two screens. Credits to somebody else. I saw this on Twitter. I'm not trying to avoid giving them credit, but their name will probably get me banned on YouTube. I'm sorry, that's your Twitter name. But we can see here on the left, CBS News says Sondland confirms a quid pro quo. On the right, Fox News, quote, I want nothing. Sondland confirms Trump told him no quid pro quo. Two different realities at the same time. Now I'll tell you why it's so important you share this video. If you watch CBS, that's Not true. It's just not true. Sondland did not confirm anything. First, let me tell you what confirmed means. Confirmed means we have indisputable facts proving something is the case. In journalism, it's not always possible. So the standard ethics was 3 sources saying it was true. Sondland testified that Trump told him, quote, I want nothing, tell Zelensky to do the right thing, I want him to do what he campaigned on. Straight from the president, Sondland said that's what happened. He was asked about a quid pro quo. Sondland said there was one. However, it was his presumption and that no one ever told him there was, nor connected an investigation into Burisma with a meeting with President Trump or otherwise, or the military aid. It wasn't there. They call that confirmed. I'm sorry, I call that a claim. The appropriate headline from CBS should be, Sondland claims the presumption of a quid pro quo. Fox News is actually correct in this regard, saying Sondland confirms Trump told him no quid pro quo. That's a fact. In dispute, it's not even in dispute. Adam Schiff asked him that, and he said, and he responded this way. CBS puts up, just not true. It's not a confirmation. The best headline I can give you: White House, federal officials dispute a quid pro quo. That's why it's important. So I say this, that's why it's important to share this video. If you only watch Fox, you're going to get a more likely correct narrative, at least in this regard. Okay. It's not all perfect, though. Hannity's very, very pro-Trump, very bombastic. That's fine, I get it. So is Rachel Maddow, I understand. They're not the same. But CBS, these other outlets, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you that so that you watch because they're desperate. Their job isn't to tell the truth, it's to make money. This image is horrifying. I am doing my best to break through this. I am not perfect, but I'm gonna say, it's 1-0. Fox News 1, CBS 0. Fox News wins this one. But let's figure out what's actually going on here. Trump on impeachment. President Trump said Friday that he wants an impeachment trial in the Senate if the House votes to impeach him. I want a trial, he said during a Fox and Friends Friday morning. There is nothing there. Trump also cast doubt on whether the House would vote to impeach him, insisting his phone call with Ukraine's president was totally appropriate, and saying House Democrats would be crazy to put impeachment to vote. Trump's right. So, look, man, if the Democrats actually want to debate real policy ideas, I could be sitting here saying Trump's wrong. But in this regard, Trump is right. If the Democrats vote for impeachment, you will put yourselves on trial, Democrats. Trump and the Republicans will be in control of the Senate, and Lindsey Graham is launching an investigation into the Bidens in Ukraine. You could have let sleeping dogs lie. They couldn't do it. They wanted to light this up. And again, maybe, some more conspiracy-minded people might say it's because they could be implicated in these investigations, so it's a last-ditch Hail Mary. But here's what happens. Donald Trump tweeted this morning, Adam Schiff will be compelled to testify should the Democrats decide, despite the fact that my presidential conversations were totally appropriate, perfect, to go forward with impeachment hoax. Polls have now turned very strongly against impeachment. And Trump is right. The polls have. Listen, I am not one to take one poll and laugh and say, aha, we have one poll. We have 3, okay? The first time it happened, I always try to highlight. You're going to get one poll. Don't take it as law. I do my best. I'm not perfect. But we have 3 polls now showing independent voters are saying enough. And now Emerson is showing it's overwhelming. It is a massively larger group of independents saying no. Someone said, I fail to see how he would be relevant, but I'm sure that he wouldn't chicken out and refuse to appear like you and your staff have. That's an excellent point that I can debunk. Adam Schiff has already blocked several witnesses. Adam Schiff is relevant because his staff talked with the whistleblower before filing the complaint. It doesn't mean he's going to be the most relevant, but we certainly should know to what extent, he has information. And we need to ask him about Russiagate and the other lies that the other misleading claims he made. I'll be careful about how I say it. Well, let's move on here. Check this out. Poll finds sharp swing in opposition to impeachment among independents. Now, you may be saying, Tim, you're banging the same drum. We heard this already. You talked about this story 2 days ago. I'm sorry. This is new. Okay, it's just another poll. So here we can see more evidence that the blowback is just going from bad to worse. This is an Emerson poll. So first we had Hill Harris X saying opposition to impeachment among independents was jumping by a massive amount. Then we had, and even among Democrats, mind you, then we had Politico Morning Consult. And now we have Emerson College. numerous polls saying independent voters are not interested. They do not like this. And everybody, and the majority, by a small amount, believe the Democrats were mishandling this. The Hill reports, a new national survey finds independent voters leading a sharp swing in opposition to impeachment, the second major poll to produce those findings this week. And I'll tell you exactly why. I know it's funny when I made that Lord of the Rings reference, but I really, that's how I feel. Okay, look, a bunch of moderate Democrats emerged and said, trust us. We're not here to go to Washington and play these silly games with Donald Trump and these other Democrats, okay? We're here to work for you. We're going to get you your health care. We're going to get you your jobs. And we're going to work across the aisle to make that change. And so they were handed that one ring, the orange man bad narrative, and they walked into the fires of Mount Doom and smirked and said no. And they turned around and went for impeachment. As soon as enough negative press was generated so that the moderates could feel safe, they jumped on board in 2 seconds, for shame, okay? And I will not spare Tulsi Gabbard the criticism because I have been supporting her. She deserves as much criticism as everybody else for flipping, though she has made some statements that I'll give her credit for. The partisanship is dangerous. Impeachment should not be used as a weapon or a tool. She should not be supporting this. And it would have been great for her to be a standout saying, no, I'm not playing these games. I'm here to serve the American people, not just to be angry at the president 24/7. But that's what you get. That's what you get. They say the latest poll from Emerson College finds 45% of independent voters oppose impeaching President Trump against 43 who support it. That's a 6-point swing in support from October, when 48% of voters supported impeachment and only 44% opposed. Mind you, the third poll, we had the other polls have shown the exact same thing. Now, the numbers are slightly different, but they show that early on, once the scandal emerged of the whistleblower, Trump's approval rating went down, support for impeachment was going up, and then we got our witnesses. And the American people heard what they had to say, and they said, what is this? There's nothing here. Well, this shows that when it comes 2020, the moderates may be swept off the board. Yeah, moderates, you had a chance. You could have represented what Democrats really, really wanted, but instead you're playing these games. I can't tell you, I don't know why. They were baited into it by Schiff, by Nadler, by Pelosi, by Schumer, whatever. But here it comes. Check this out. And I'll tell you what, Biden is reeling. Biden is reeling. They are feeling the heat. Okay? It's not just about the blowback. They are feeling it. Lindsey Graham launches Senate investigation into Biden's and Ukraine. Well, here you go. Maybe they'll find nothing. But this is going to be a huge hamper on Biden's campaign. If the Democrats just said, let's go for 2020, the polls were showing Biden was doing well. Trump probably going to win anyway, but hey, at least you would have had a better chance now. They're throwing Biden under the bus. Bernie might actually take the nomination now because of this. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham sent a letter to Mike Pompeo on Thursday requesting documents related to Joe Biden's communications with Ukrainian officials. Graham's inquiry focuses on any calls Biden may have had with the former Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko, about the firing of the country's top prosecutor, or any calls that referenced Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company where Biden's son Hunter sat on the board. The Washington Post reports that Graham's letter appears to begin an investigation into Trump's widely debunked claim that Biden, who at the time was vice president, put pressure on Ukraine to fire its top prosecutor in an attempt to protect his son. Let me stop you there. No one's debunked it because no one's seen the documents. How can you call the story debunked before Lindsey Graham has even gotten any of the documents? Isn't it insane how the media runs defense for Joe Biden? Check this out. Wolf Blitzer of CNN wants to claim Trump has nothing to hide. He can just come out. Well, what happens with Joe Biden? Joe Biden says Lindsey Graham will regret his whole life doing Trump's bidding on Ukraine. Now, here's another reason why I say share this video. Because if you go, I'm going to throw some shade your way, Breitbart. Breitbart called this a threat. It's not a threat, okay? Lindsey Graham and Joe Biden have been friends, as far as I understand. And now Lindsey Graham doing this is putting a wedge between them. Listen, calling it a threat is a stretch. All right, but let's read, and you can make up your own mind. I'll just give you my opinion. Joe Biden said he's embarrassed for Lindsey Graham over the Republicans' willingness to do President Trump's bidding and investigate the former vice president's actions in Ukraine. Lindsey is about to go down in a way that I think he's going to regret his whole life, Biden told CNN's Don Lemon in an interview Friday in South Carolina. Asked what he would say to Graham, who in the past had expressed his admiration for his longtime Senate colleague, Biden said, I say, Lindsey, I'm just embarrassed by what you're doing. For you, I mean, my Lord. I don't see that as a threat, man. I understand some people might try and claim that, but it sounds like what he's really saying is, that Trump is going to lose. This is his opinion, by the way. Trump is wrong. It's a conspiracy theory. He's going to lose. And with Lindsey Graham jumping on board, it's going to bring him down in a way he will regret for the rest of his life. That's what he's saying. But however, he goes on to mention this. Check this out. They have him under their thumb right now. They know he knows that if he comes out against Trump, he's got a real tough road for re-election, number one. He says, I am disappointed and quite frankly, I'm angered by the fact. He knows me. He knows my son. He knows there's nothing to this. Trump is now essentially holding power over him that even the Ukrainians wouldn't yield to. Ukrainians would not yield to, quote, investigate Biden. There's nothing to investigate about Biden or his son. I'm gonna stop you right there, CNN, with not providing the important context for people. You see, for years, the media has told us that Biden's family was corrupt. Not making it up. 2015, the New York Times wrote about it. Politico magazine repeatedly wrote about it. The soft corruption of the Bidens, the crony deals they get, they need to be investigated. It may all be legal. It's certainly amoral or unethical, and they call it soft corruption. So now to just try and gaslight us into believing that Joe Biden he's on the level the whole time. Everything's on. No. I'm sorry, man. Look, I don't care about Trump. I'm ambivalent towards the man. There are things he does that I don't like, things that I think are fine. You know, everyone seems to be going crazy. But I'll tell you what. If at the end of this, they prove Trump committed a crime, well, good. If somebody breaks the law, they go to jail. We hold them accountable, okay? I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. But they're simultaneously saying Trump is not above the law. But how dare Trump want to investigate Joe Biden, who's running for president? Oh, because Biden's running for president, he's above law? I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. Joe Biden should be investigated if there's probable cause. And I'll tell you what, based on the stories, the documents, and everything that's come out so far, yeah, time to investigate the guy. New York Times, you can't have them write a story in 2015 saying that his son was undermining American efforts overseas to end corruption. You write that story and immediately say, hey, maybe we should stop what his son is doing because it's going against American interests. All of a sudden, he's on the board of a corrupt Ukrainian company. And then Joe Biden says, oh, the prosecutor's corrupt. So he steps in and says, fire the prosecutor. Well, lo and behold, the new guy clears Burisma of all wrongdoing, the Burisma founder. So what does that sound like to me? You want to claim that Joe Biden's on the level? I'm fine. I don't care. We still got to investigate. The weird thing to me about the whole Burisma thing is like, if they thought this dude was corrupt, why is it that their new prosecutor cleared the guy of wrongdoing? I mean, ignore what they have to say. I don't care what they're telling me. They're probably lying. They're politicians. I'll tell you what happened. Burisma was a corrupt company. Hunter Biden was on the board for seemingly no reason. A prosecutor gets fired. A new prosecutor clears the guy of all wrongdoing. Sounds like they were cleaning up shop. So listen, sure, maybe Joe Biden did nothing wrong. All right. But this is the blowback the Democrats receive. Joe Biden's campaign is under fire for corruption because they started it. Now, Trump was looking into it. But guess what? Ukraine didn't make an announcement. The Ukrainian president didn't launch that investigation. So there we are. They could have said nothing. Trump could have tried to get, let's say it really was about digging up dirt. I'll tell you what happened in the whole thing. If you're complaining that Trump was trying to get dirt on Biden, you provided that to the media, not Trump. Nobody knew Trump made the call. Nobody knew until the whistleblower came forward and said, hey, look what Donald Trump said. And then people asked the question, why did Donald Trump say that? And then everyone said, look at this video of Joe Biden doing a quid pro quo. And now here we are. The only dirt on Biden is the potential corruption you keep trying to claim is debunked because the Democrats launched the impeachment. It is the most idiotic thing. And it's so frustrating. I'll tell you why I'm so angry right now. It's the analogy I gave you about the fires of Mount Doom. It's like we were here, okay? And we had moderates and we said, please, can you stop this? I know you can't unite the country. I know you can't make Trump supporters, do a square dance with progressives. It's not going to happen. But at the very least, you can try and be a bridge between them where, they can hold your hand, you can hold their hand, and we can maybe get some votes done. Maybe we can lower the prices of drugs. Maybe we can get the new trade deal passed. Instead, they said, nah, we're just going to impeach the president. Well, guess what? You reap what you sow. Letting sleeping dogs lie would be the smart move, but instead, Lindsey Graham is now taking action against Joe Biden, which is going to dog his campaign for a long time. Independents are upset. Almost all, it's all registered voters, according to the Politico Morning Consult poll, think Democrats are mishandling this. 3 polls now showing that independents are saying no dice, so they're not going to vote for you. You're pissing them off. And Donald Trump coming up gloating, yeah, I want a trial. He's going to make you stand trial. So here's the best part. Here's my final thought. Maybe there's 4 things to this. Impeachment trial throws curveball into 2020 race. They have gone beyond like hurting themselves. I got to be careful about the analogies I use because YouTube will punish me. But, you know, they could have focused on winning. They could have focused on their message. Instead, they said, they've been obsessed with impeachment from the beginning. Well, now these 5 senators are having their campaigns thrown a curveball because when this goes to trial, guess what? They're going to be sitting there, unable to speak. You're not allowed to speak in the trial, passing questions to Chief Justice Roberts, who will be leading the trial as the judge. They'll be off the campaign trail. But guess what? So will Joe Biden. He's going to be sitting in that witness chair with his son, alongside his son, answering questions. So none of these Democrats are going to be able to even go out and campaign. Meanwhile, Trump has raised record funds, more money than any president up to this point. And while they're sitting in a room waiting for the Republicans to just say, we're not going to remove the president, Trump's going to be running campaign ads and he's going to be on the campaign trail. I am just so sick and tired of these, of this. It's just, you know what really bothers me? When people do things wrong. And I'm sitting here like, man, if you really wanted to defeat Trump in 2020, you need to talk to some like sane people. Trump will be on the campaign trail. Trump will be holding rallies. Trump will be raising record funds, running commercials, and the Republicans were never going to remove him in the first place. Joe Biden is now being investigated by Senate Republicans. The other Democrats are being pulled off the campaign trail. Independents are swinging against Democrats. It is literally just erupted in their faces. God, how stupid. And this is what I was saying from day one. This will backfire. I've got like 8 videos like, well, it backfired again. Oh, there's another backfire. And now the blowback has gone from bad to worse. I don't even know what to title these videos anymore. Every day there's a new story about like, woohoo, that was bad for Democrats. Oh, that was bad for Democrats. But let me bring it back to this. I will end with this. I will end with this because at the same time I'm saying all this, they are telling you it is bad for Trump. They're saying that Devin Nunes has been caught in a Ukrainian scandal. Ooh, he was in on the take. Let me make something clear for you, okay? First of all, I absolutely implore you, please watch other news, watch CNN, watch these other YouTubers, watch left-wing content, figure out what their argument is, because I probably miss some things. I'm not perfect. And you got to balance your diet. Make sure you're getting as much information as possible across the board and figure out who to trust. It's the best you can do. Be wary of anyone who tells you not to do that because it is on you to figure out what's happening in this world. I can't give you everything. I'll do my best. Take a look at this story. They say at the same time, oh man, the walls are closing in on Trump. Bombshell, bombshell, bombshell. Bombshell testimony shows that the walls are closing in on Trump, spelling game over for the administration every day. Check out this story. They say Giuliani associate willing to tell Congress that Nunes met with ex-Ukrainian official to get dirt on Biden. Yes, that's right. A lawyer for an individual the Democrats claim is corrupt is claiming that another person the Democrats claim is corrupt is willing to present dirt on a U.S. politician. Oh, I'm going to believe that. So you feel free to. Feel free to believe that a corrupt individual got word from a corrupt prosecutor that he has dirt on a U.S. politician. Feel free to believe it, okay? But I'll tell you this. It doesn't matter. The difference between what's good and bad for Democrats and Trump is so far apart. Is this bad for Nunes? Sure. Is it bad for Trump? A little bit, maybe, if it turns out to be true, it's not likely. We'll see what happens. Is the fact that independents are souring on impeachment directly bad and completely tangible in the short term? Oh, you better believe it. It doesn't matter if this is true. Independent voters are angry. And this could change. Things could reverse. But for the time being, dude, you started the impeachment inquiry, and now Joe Biden's being investigated. Like, I tell you what, man, you can rag on Nunes all you want, but Nunes isn't running for the president. So if Nunes can't get reelected because he looks bad, Republicans aren't going to care. Trump's not going to care. I mean, they'll care a little bit. But in the end, Trump will win. And if Trump wins, he's going to gloat about how it's been a nonstop witch hunt for all these years. And I'm telling you right now, man, these independent voters are feeling that way. I will give you one final thought on this. And I know I said it before, it bears repeating. There was a point about, a month ago, like when the Ukraine scandal broke, that there was a breaking point that I could feel, and you could see it in the ratings. You could see the American psyche finally snapped. After years of Russiagate, the Democrats launched another one. Another Russiagate 2 Ukrainian boogaloo. And I could see it, man. I could see the numbers shift. I could see people. I talked to my friends and they were like, I'm not playing this game again, man. I'm not. And that's why the ratings were down. Now the ratings have fluctuated a bit on the impeachment inquiry, for sure. I don't want to act like it's just going straight down. A lot of people have highlighted when it down, but not pointed out that it did go back up a little bit, and that's fair. The Democratic debate, the last one, record low for the season, 6.5 million. That's a lot of people, but way down from the biggest we've seen, which was 25 million in the Republican primary back in 2016. I guess, the Democrats are so desperate. They tried this last-ditch Hail Mary. Reckless abandon. They've sacrificed it all. And it's going to come falling down around them. I'll see you all in the next segment at 6 p.m. YouTube.com/TimCastNews. Thanks for hanging out.